Yes, we're still watching financial markets, and my name is Anthony, your host. Now, we're still looking at the stock market, how it was yesterday. It opens at 9 and closes at 1 p.m., and we analyze statistics from the previous day's trading. Now, Mtn Uganda yesterday came out as a top gainer after losing the day before. And I was here on the show. I remember very well, I told you that you never know what could happen. Yes, there was a small marginal increase in the stock price, but it is significant. And I told you Mtn is now becoming one of the very most active stocks in Uganda at the moment as we talk. Now, Mtn Uganda has been listed, as we all know, since last year, 2021, on the 6th of December. It trades under the ticker symbol MTNU, just like you see it on your screen. And yesterday's closing price was 185.18 Ugandan shillings, after gaining just 0.1% on yesterday's 185 to close at exactly 185.18, gaining there. And Mtn Uganda, interestingly, has maintained a very wonderful performance, and you can see that on the graph there, we're seeing that they have maintained the 185 and between 200 and 185 pricing. Of course, we are hoping that could change and they could shift back into the 200s, at least for people who are able to buy on the IPO to also celebrate and be able to get some capital gain as well. But there is hope for the future, and that is the particular curve for the stock performance at MTN. Currently, MTN is the number two, the second most traded, the second most valuable, not traded, the second most valuable stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And they have a total market capitalization of 4.15 trillion Ugandan shillings, which makes about 18.4% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange equity market. And based on that performance they put up, yesterday they traded a total volume of over 21,213 shares on the stock market, with a total gross turnover of 3.93 million Ugandan shillings. The shares outstanding at the counter are up to 22.4 billion shares, and the capitalization is 4.15 trillion Ugandan shillings. Now, MTN has had some very good performance recently, and we can see that MTN closed its trading day yesterday, like we can see there, at 185.18 after gaining 0.1% on their counter closing price of the previous day, that was 185 shillings. However, MTN began the year with a price of 194.99 Ugandan shillings, and has since then lost about 5.03%. And in terms of year-to-date performance, comparing the 194.99 Ugandan shillings share price on the 1st of January to the price we are looking at 185.18 Ugandan shillings, it is ranked number 9 in terms of year to date. Now, however, MTN is the 4th most traded stock. You have to take note of this because we started way back from Umeme, which was the 2nd most traded stock at 200 shillings. We also have several counters there coming in, Stanbic and so on. And now we are seeing MTN at in the 4th position with coming in with this with the 4th most traded stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange. We are looking at 3 months ago. That is from the May 4th to August 9th, 2022. Within this period, MTN has traded a total volume of 13 million shares that are valued at 2.43 billion Ugandan shillings over the period, with an average of 206,566 traded shares per session. They have traded within 3 months over 13 million shares, and they are valued at 2.43 billion Ugandan shillings. That is MTN for you. And a volume high of 2.11 million shares was achieved on the 12th of July. So you can see in terms of volumes, they have gone as high as 2.1 million on a single day. That was on the 12th of July. And within the period, they have had a trading volume average of 206,566 per trading session. And looking at 10 days ago, they have had activity on the 9th, that was yesterday. They had activity on Monday, that was on 8th, trading about 6,650 shares. They had activity last week on Friday, on the 5th of August, at 80,000 shares. And they had activity on the 4th, and they had activity on the 3rd, trading about 500,000 shares. They had activity on the 2nd of August with over 82,500 shares on the 1st. So meaning MTN has traded, at least within the last 2 or so weeks, they have had some trading on a daily. We're talking about daily trading. Every single day we are seeing some action on MTN, and which is a very promising situation at the stock market in Uganda. At least if we have more counters like MTN, if we have, for example, some of even the gross listed companies also trade some good volumes, at least once a week or twice a week. And then the Ugandan company is also trading at least every single day, even if it's a small volume. That will make a lot of sense. It will mean that people have actually woken up, people are buying shares, and people are realizing how important it is. And so now, my dear friend who is watching me right now, I hope you pick something. A picture from MTN Uganda. They have been trading every single day, meaning people are buying this stock. People are seeing something. What aren't you seeing? What exactly aren't you seeing? And what is holding you back? If it is an SCD account, I've already given you the measures. Dial *165#. Go to option number 6. That is financial services. That is using your MTN number, and then you look for option number 5. That option will give you, being able to open an SCD account. And this SCD account will help you to be able to trade on these stock markets. Now, this particular code is for MTN subscribers at the moment. If you're not an MTN subscriber, you can still open your SCD account or Securities Central Depository account by visiting www.use.ug.org. And when you do, you go to USE website, you will find somewhere where there's Easy Portal. When you go to Easy Portal, they will ask for your national identification card. You just simply take photographs of it. They'll also ask for your personal photograph. That is your passport photograph, which you can take as a selfie. And before you know it, the account is open. All you need to do, the next step, is to be able to choose yourself a stockbroker who is going to trade on your behalf. Because as you know, the rules of procedure at the Uganda Securities Exchange, you cannot buy or sell without the stockbroker. The stockbroker will give you this opportunity to also get to know more about you. They'll give you a chance to learn more about the stock market. They'll also have to hear from you. What are your interests? What is your risk appetite? Are you a risk taker? Are you not a risk taker? And they will advise you accordingly, and will give you this and more of what you need to know and in order to be able to buy stock. I've given you already the starting point. MTN Uganda 185.18 was the closing price yesterday. Of course, some people ask, you have so many decimal points within the prices, maybe 185 point this, but well, it's open. The market does not only trade at the market price. That is the interesting bit. The Uganda Securities Exchange has a 15% window, 15% for Christ's sake, where you can be able to play around the price. So if you have 185.18, you can still be able to say, hey, I want to buy at 188. And that's how prices move. I want to sell. Usually, of course, it is sellers who would want to be able to sell at higher prices, right? But buyers usually come with lower prices, matter of fact. So if I want to buy stock from MTN and currently the price is at 185.18, I have a right to come and say I have 183 shillings, so long as it's within 15% of the current market price, and I'm able to access someone who is willing to still sell that stock, that much stock, the amount of shares that I'm looking at buying at that particular price. I can still have a deal. This is how before 2015 the trading used to be done at the Uganda Securities Exchange trading floor. You would hear various brokers making noise, and there was a gentleman at the center called a trading manager who would have to hear and listen to each of them and be able to take note of the prices and may be able to merge deals whereby when you meet someone who is willing to buy at exactly what you're willing to sell, then you have a deal, and that's it. And that's exactly how it is still happening right now. You can still be able to trade. You can be able to buy and sell without you having to actually go to the exchange, without you being able to get a share certificate and all these other bureaucratic systems that were scrapped away. So I've given you the idea. I've given you also how you can get started. All you have to do now is make the next bold move for you to actually buy stock in your life and change your life and change your savings, change the way you're seeing money, and also be able to be a part owner of MTN and some of these other very wonderful companies. Now, let us cross to some of the losers here. Well, we are seeing that the losers were led from the bottom by Uganda Clays. Now, Uganda Clays Limited yesterday came out as a bottom loser after shedding off 0.41 Ugandan shillings off their pricing of 19. And they closed the day with 18.59 Ugandan shillings as their closing price. And that was a 2.16% drop in prices. Now, Uganda Clays Limited is a Ugandan public limited company that is dealing in the supply of clay products that are, of course, used in-house and in construction industries. The company's main business is production and sale of mainly roofing tiles, wallings, mark spans, and other building materials that are made out of clay, and of course other decorative clay products, with a reputation of being producers of very high quality products and using a dedicated and stable labor force. Uganda Clays Limited boasts of a better raw material base than many of its competitors, and consequently its prices for its products are quite competitive compared with other competitors within the same market. On the Uganda Securities Exchange, the Uganda Clays Limited company has been listed since the 18th of January 2000, meaning Uganda Clays has been listed for the past 22 years. Wow, what a company. And you can see, of course, based on their rich history on the stock market, it's a company you can also be able to trust and be able to buy into, because they have been listed for quite long. One of the oldest companies on the Uganda Securities Exchange. They trade under the ticker symbol UCL, and their securities international securities identification number is UG00014. And the Uganda Clays Limited currently is the 15th most valuable stock in terms of market capitalization, with a total market capitalization of $16.7 billion Ugandan shillings, and that is about 0.074% of the Uganda Securities Exchange equity market. Now, Uganda Clays UCL Limited, when you look at their graph, last year they were trading at very, very low prices, as low as 7, as low as 8 back in 2021. If you look at that graph at the beginning of the graph, you're looking at months of October, November, December 2021. Their prices were below 10 shillings. That is, they were trading between 5 and 10, and that was around 7, 8, 9 shillings between the month of October and the month of December. Now, if someone bought stock at Uganda Clays back then, I'm just saying this despite the fact that, of course, they are losing today and they're coming out at the bottom, just to show you the value of the stock market, how the stock market can really favor those who are patient. If you bought stock at Uganda Clays back in 2021, when the prices were at 7 and 8, you will see that today you will have earned about 11 or 12 more shillings per share. To put that into perspective, if you have 10 million shares back then 10 million shares were about 10 million was about 60 million shillings. Right now, you would have about now you have extra 10 shillings for every share. You would have extra 10 million shillings on your value, meaning those people who bought earlier are, of course, enjoying that great value. But as the year began, in January 2022, the stock began to steadily rise, rising from 10 shillings in January back to about 12, 13, 14, then to 15, and then it reached a maximum of about 24 Ugandan shillings around the month of March. That's the beginning of the month of March, and then went down slightly during the month of March until the month of April 2022, and then slightly even went below 20 shillings in the month of June, down to about 19 shillings, where it has been averaging at that. And we're seeing some low prices there, even lower than 17, 19. We are seeing 18 and about 17 shillings within the period between July and August right now as we speak. This counter is Uganda Clays Limited. Now, yesterday they traded a total volume of 37,100 shares on the stock market, and they were worth 689,600 Ugandan shillings, and they have total number of shares outstanding currently at 900 million shares, and they have a total market capitalization of 16.7 billion. When you talk about the market cap or capitalization, you simply get the shares outstanding, that is the 900 million shares, and multiply by the current share price of 18.89 Ugandan shillings. Now, closing last day of trading yesterday, Uganda Clays Limited lost about 2.2% drop of its price valuation, closing the day with 18.59 Ugandan shillings. However, Uganda Clays began the year with a price of 13 shillings. Okay, so we are now looking at the year-to-date performance. So it began the year with a price of 13 Ugandan shillings, and has since the beginning of the year in January been able to gain 43% on its price valuation, ranking it the first and in terms of year-to-date performance. I want you to really understand this. Some people sometimes mix up things. That's why you must follow the show all the way through the week so that you really understand. When we talk about year-to-date performance, we are talking about comparing the price on the 1st of January to the closing price that we are looking at right now of yesterday, that is 9th of August. And when we compare those two prices, we get the percentage difference, okay? and get a percentage. Of course, we get that percentage difference, and that gives us the performance of the stock, that particular company, of the stock of that particular company within the year to date, beginning of the 1st of January, and comparing it with the current price. Now, when we do that, Uganda Clays comes in position number 1, because you can imagine from 13 shillings all the way to right now 18 shillings within this period for Uganda Clays. And on the USE, the shareholders really, that is my opinion and the opinion of most people who would analyze this stock, they should be optimistic about buying shares in Uganda Clays Limited, and because their stock has accrued about 9% over the past 4 weeks as well, which is the second best on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Meaning, in terms of year to date, they are number 1. But in terms of 1 month performance, exactly 1 month ago, that is, we are comparing today's price with the price on the 10th of July. They're still ranking, they're still ranking, at least within this period, the second, number 2, the second best stock in terms of the monthly performance. Uganda Clays Limited still, of course, we look at also the trading, because you might have all these good movements in price, and you'll have all these very attractive movements, very good percentages on year to date, very good monthly performance. But then what is your volume? How much have you traded? Because that is also something that can indicate to the customers or to your shareholders that, hey, people are actually interested in this stock, or people are not interested in this stock. Now, in terms of the shareholding activity, of course, buying and selling shares, the traded volumes within the period of 3 months, they are the 5th most traded stock. That is on the Uganda Securities Exchange, and we are talking about a period from 4th of May, analyzing period of 4th of May to the 9th of August. Uganda Clays Limited has traded a total volume within this period of 7.21 million, and they are valued at 134 million Ugandan shillings. And within this period, they have had an average on every trading session. We're looking at average figures of 485 shares that are traded per session, and a volume high of 1.5 million shares that was achieved on the 26th of May 2022 within this period of 3 months. Now, when you look at the last 10 days of trading, let us see. Yesterday, they traded 37,100 shares. On the 3rd of August was another day they traded about 14,500 shares. On the 27th of July, they traded another 51,500 shares. And on the 20th of July, they traded also some good volume of 64,409 shares as well. That brings us to the end of the stock market at Uganda Clays. They're trading, you can see good volumes, very good year-to-date performance coming in the first place, very good and wonderful appreciation in the 1 month as well, coming in the second place. Well, what are you waiting for? With only about 18,000, yes, I'm talking about 18,000. This is a meal at KFC or something. You can buy 1,000 shares on the Uganda Clays Limited stock. And I've already given you everything you need to do. You just simply need to open an SCD account, reach out to a stockbroker, and they will help you buy this particular stock on the Uganda Clays Limited counter. The other losers, of course, we've talked about them. There was also NMG lost, Jubilee Holdings, Kenya Airways, and so on. However, in terms of volumes yesterday, the company that recorded the highest volume was National. The highest volume was recorded by National Insurance Corporation, who traded 69,100 shares, and was followed by Uganda Clays at 37,100 shares. and then MTN Uganda at 21,213 shares, while Cipla Quality Chemicals came in at 5,500 shares. And as you can see on the board, those are the current prices, opening prices for the market today. Bank of Baroda at 85, and then you're seeing British American Tobacco at 15,000, and Centum Investment at 306.89, Cipla Quality Chemical Industries Limited at 70, and then DFCU at 547, and then East African Breweries at 5039, and KCB, Kenya Airways, and other counters as well, with their subsequent prices, as you can see on your board. Regarding the summary of this trading, at the end of the day, we had over 134,913 shares that corresponded to a market value of 5.8 million, roughly, were traded yesterday, and that brought the current market capitalization to 22.6 trillion Ugandan shillings. And that brings us to the end of that market. That there, of course, is Tanzania's Treasury bond that it's going to issue exactly today to be able to issue that bond. That's coming in at an 8% rate, and we're going to talk about more of that, and also look at Nairobi, how Nairobi has been able to do and perform on their general election day yesterday. We'll take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.